The Comet 1 and 2 by JAYANT NARLIKAR. About the author. JAYANT NARLIKAR was born in Kolhapur, India on 19th July 1938 in a family of scholars. His father, Vishnu Vasudev Narlikar, was a mathematician and theoretical physicist who served as professor and head of department of mathematics at Banaras Hindu University, Varanasi, and mother Sumati Narlikar was a scholar of Sanskrit. Narlikar completed his school education from Central Hindu College. He received his BSc degree from Banaras Hindu University in 1957. He then began his studies at Cambridge University at Fitzwilliam College, like his father, where he received a BA degree in mathematics in 1959 and was senior wrangler. In 1960, he won the Tyson Medal for astronomy. During his doctoral studies at Cambridge, he won the Smith's Prize 1962. After receiving his PhD degree in 1963, under the guidance of Fred Hoyle, he served as a Berry Ramsay Fellow at King's College in Cambridge and earned a master's degree in astronomy and astrophysics in 1964. Books written by JAYANT NARLIKAR. Current issues in Cosmology 2006, Fred Hoyle's Universe 2003, Scientific Edge, The Indian Scientist from Vedic to Modern Times 2003, An Introduction to Cosmology 2002, Quasars and Active Galactic Nuclei, An Introduction in 1999, From Black Clouds to Black Holes in 1996, The Return of Wayman in 1990, The Adventure, and The Comet. Characters of the story The Comet 1 and 2. Manoj Datta, the man who discovered Comet Datta. Indrani Devi, Manoj Datta's wife. James Fawcett, a professor at King's College, Cambridge. John Macpherson, Defense Science Advisor, Her Majesty's Government. Taylor, John Macpherson's friend. And Khokha, Manoj Datta's 8-year-old grandson. It was a moonless night in December. A burst of cool breeze from the window was enough to disturb the sleep of Indrani Devi. Half awake, she felt for the adjoining pillow. Datta was not there. She knew that Datta was out with Dibya, which was the name of Datta's telescope, exploring the sky in search of a new comet, and he must have forgotten to put on a sweater. Indrani Devi wrapped herself in a shawl and made her way to the roof to give Datta the sweater. Against the background of old stars, Datta detected a faint stranger. He re-examined the charts with him, checked his Dibya for any smudges on the optics, did some calculations on his pocket calculator, and realized that it was a new comet. 2 days later, the Anand Bazar Patrika came out with the news. Shri Manoj Datta, a resident on the northern outskirts of Calcutta, has claimed to have discovered a new comet. He has seen the comet on the last 2 nights and has informed the Indian Institute of Astrophysics, IIA at Bangalore, of its whereabouts. The IIA runs a 90-inch telescope, the biggest in Asia, at Kavalur. If it confirms Datta's findings, it will be a high point in his lifelong career as an amateur astronomer. Datta, as he is affectionately called by his friends and admirers, estimates that the comet would be clearly visible to the naked eye in the next few months. He gives all the credit for his discovery to his 8-inch telescope, which he calls Dibya. IIA confirmed the findings of Datta and named the comet Comet Datta. This brought in unwelcome publicity to the introvert Datta. There were numerous receptions and functions to attend. Returning from one such ceremony, Datta muttered to himself in disgust,
I almost wish I had not discovered this comet.
I wish the same, though not for the same reason.
May I ask why you wish I had not discovered this comet?
Comets bring ill luck, and I wish a good man like you were not associated with the discovery of one.
I see that even an MA degree has not cured you of your superstitions. There is no correlation whatsoever with the arrival of a comet and the calamities of Earth. On the contrary, comets have been scientifically studied and their composition is well understood. There is nothing harmful about them. Well, you will soon see this comet of mine will pass harmlessly by causing no anxiety to anybody.
In the spacious dining hall of King's College, Cambridge, James received a letter. It contained a brief note. Dear Dr. Fawcett, the bearer of this note has been instructed to bring you to my office in London tonight. Please come without delay. I am making arrangements for your overnight stay in London. I regret the inconvenience caused to you and request you to keep your visits strictly confidential. Believe me, it is absolutely essential. Yours sincerely, John Macpherson. The signature carried the designation underneath, Defense Science Advisor, Her Majesty's Government. A bowler-hatted man near the mantelpiece greeted him as James entered his sitting room. His Ford Cortina brought them to Whitehall in less than 90 minutes. It took them another 10 minutes to reach the chambers of Sir John Macpherson. Sir John had acquired the original manuscript of the letter that James sent to a scientific magazine, Nature, through his friend Taylor, who worked for the magazine.
I met Taylor today at lunch in the club where he showed me your paper. I still retain enough interest in astronomy, you know, and he asked for my opinion before sending it to a professional referee. I immediately realized that your result has profound implications if it is correct. Let me assure you, Sir John, that it is correct. I stake my reputation on it. Do you realize what will happen if Comet Datta collides with the Earth as you predict it will? The effects will be catastrophic. That is why I have taken extra care to verify my calculations. Barring rare circumstances, the collision is inevitable. What are those rare circumstances? Well, it might collide with some asteroid before reaching here, or it might just split up when near the sun, or it might evaporate. But we can't count on those fortuitous circumstances. We have to proceed on the assumption that Comet Datta will collide with the Earth. Cometary collisions are expected to occur once in 10 million years, but now we know that the next one will occur in a year. 10 months to be precise. Thank you for the correction. Do you realize that we only have 10 months of survival for the entire living species on Earth? Don't you think we have to do something to stop all this? How, may I ask, can we prevent this natural catastrophe? I don't know, but we have no option but to try. I think we need more than 2 brains to handle this situation. It is essential to call an urgent meeting of experts from all over the world to think of a countermeasure and, of course, in total secrecy. Think of the panic in the world if this dreadful news leaks out. My suppressing the paper will not hide the truth, Sir John. There are others who will arrive at the same conclusion sooner or later. No, do not suppress it, but tone it down, and add many ifs and buts to your conclusion, so that it does not appear so certain. I will exert all my influence with friends in other countries to make them exercise a similar restraint for a while. For how long? Until this wretched comet is safely out of the way. Let us spend some time now to plan the details of of the international conference. Shall we call it in a week's time here?
A week to plan such an important secret conference of international experts? James thought it was an impossible task, but Sir John disagreed and began to spell out details. Whatever doubt James may have had about Sir John's efficiency were quickly dispelled when he reported for the conference and found that all the experts listed by him were there. Astronomers, computer scientists, nuclear physicists, space technologists, biologists, all were there, and Sir John's special invitee was present, the man who had started it all, Manoj Datta. The conference lasted 1 week and went on under total cover of secrecy. First, the experts checked and rechecked James Fawcett's calculations with the latest observations of Comet Datta. He was right. There was no escape from the direct hit predicted by him. Having decided that some action was needed, what form should it take? The experts dismissed defensive measures like living in underground bunkers. It was simply not a practical proposition. So the only course was to take offensive action. Comet Datta could be marginally deflected from its path by giving it a push. The experts calculated that the bulk of destructive nuclear power available on Earth would be needed to achieve this mammoth task. A gigantic nuclear explosion, suitably placed, suitably directed, and suitably timed could do the trick. This could be done by placing the nuclear payload in a spaceship, sending it to intercept the approaching comet, and detonating it by remote control. Success or failure, secrecy must be preserved. Finally, a timetable was drawn up for the operation, which was codenamed Project Light Brigade. The important dates in it were October 10. Dispatch the spacecraft with the payload, unless by then the comet is already destroyed by natural causes or has changed its path due to unforeseen reasons. November 15. Rendezvous with the comet and detonation of the payload. December 15. If the experiment failed, this was the day the comet would hit Earth. If it succeeded, this was the day the comet would pass by at near but safe distance.
Do you think we will succeed? Mr. Datta, I will give you an honest answer. I am not buying any Christmas presents till December 15.
Arriving home, Datta found another crowd gathered under a pandal. He glanced questioningly at Indrani Devi, who explained that she had arranged a yajna and had called the priest to bless him, as she thought that the comet was bringing unrest in her family. As Datta did not believe in such myths and taboos, he refused to perform the yajna. Since his return from London, Datta was in regular correspondence with Sir John Macpherson. Their friendship had grown out of their appreciation of each other's virtues. Sir John admired Datta's scientific outlook, while the latter admired the former's discipline and efficiency. Their correspondence never mentioned the Project Light Brigade, although once in a while Sir John would hint at its progress in a subtle manner that Datta would understand. Meanwhile, Comet Datta was following its predicted path. It circled around the sun without breaking apart, nor did it evaporate. The scientists on Project Light Brigade therefore knew that the threat of collision was now very much real. In the middle of October, Datta got a letter from Sir John. In the letter it was written, "The charge of the Light Brigade has begun. Let us hope for the best." On November 18, Datta got a special telex message which read, "I am confident now of buying my Christmas presents on December 15. John Macpherson." On December 15, Comet Datta came closest to Earth, at a distance of 80,000 kilometers. Millions saw it and admired it. Only a handful knew how close they had come to total annihilation. When the comet had gone far away and was seen no more, Datada felt it safe to make the following commitment to his wife.
Now that the comet came and went, are you satisfied that no major disaster took place that can be attributed to it?
I agree that there has been no major disaster, but there could have been some. Do you know how they were averted?
I don't understand what you mean.
It is very simple. There were no disasters because of the yajna at our house.
But I never performed the yajna, don't you remember? I refused to have anything to do with it.
Of course I do, but we found a way. At least Guruji did. He said if you were unwilling to perform the yajna, it would be alright if a descendant of yours did. So we got Koka to deputize for you. And it has worked. Isn't Guruji clever?
Datada formed a mental picture of Khokha, his 8-year-old grandson, performing the yajna, uttering mantras dictated to him which he did not understand, pouring ghee at specific intervals into the fire, offering flowers. And then the picture changed to an assembly of scientists at the conference, analyzing the problem, devising solutions, and executing them rationally and efficiently. It seemed hard to believe that both pictures were different aspects of contemporary human society. Datta was aware of the gulf that separates the rich from the poor, the educated from the illiterate, the privileged from the unprivileged. But this gap between the rational and the superstitious seemed to him far wider, far more sinister.